Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, and I'm here today on Thursday, June 22nd, with Ken Jenkins, our Deputy County Executive, Joan McDonald, our Director of Operations, and other members of our executive team, and municipal officials from a number of different Westchester communities who are here to announce an exciting program that we've initiated this year called the Downtown Improvement Grant Program, or DIG. There's always an acronym in government. We're very happy to be able to launch this new initiative, which we hope will be productive and maybe things that we can expand and replicate in years to come. When our administration first came into office, we made an effort to reach out to every one of the 45 local governments in Westchester County, the cities, the towns, and the villages, and indicate that we were intending to start a new level of partnership between the county government and those governments. And for those who are outside of government, you may tend to see government as monolithic. If you're in business, you look at government. But government is really broken into a number of component parts from the federal level down to the local level. And those component parts don't always get along with each other. They have separate corporate interests, and oftentimes they're not moving in harmony. We wanted to try to create a greater sense of the county government being there as a sibling government, not a superior government, to local government, so that when we saw opportunities and issues for cooperation, we could bring that cooperation together. And as my friends in government will tell you, one of the most important ways is to provide money from one level of government to another so we can actually accomplish certain very specific tasks. Joan will talk about the DIG program, and as she does, we view this as an opportunity, a test or pilot, if you will, to take a concept and see how well it works. We think it can work, we think it can expand, but we want to see if we can get the desired results, which is to help our local downtowns in Westchester County become stronger and more active. And if it does succeed, it succeeds to benefit the villages and the towns and the cities and the county as well. So, Joan McDonald, our Director of Operations.
Thank you, County Executive. Good afternoon, everybody. And I'm going to explain the parameters of the DIG program and how it came to be. And this program truly came about as a number of brainstorming sessions. It was Sherry and I sitting down and talking about, okay, we've got these great programs that we launched with the Business First under Bridget Gibbons' leadership. Is there anything special we can do for our downtown chambers of commerce and working in partnership with their municipal governments? And about the same time, I had lunch with a former colleague in the city of New York, Rob Walsh, who is one of the partners at RGSG, who we're going to hear from in a little bit. Rob couldn't join us today because his son Liam was accepted in the Oxford, England summer baseball program. So we're here launching the DIG program, and he's in the UK with his son in baseball. So but we were brainstorming, and he talked about the work that JGSG did for various neighborhoods in the city of New York after Hurricane Sandy and rebuilding those neighborhoods. So Sherry and I brainstormed, and I'm always one for a competition. So I said, why don't we set up a program with different parameters where the municipalities within the county can apply for grant funding, and then we will select 4 winners, but we got such good responses. We selected 5, and as the county executive said, this is a pilot program. We're going to do more. And the winners of these of this round, who are all here with us today, will get funds working with JGSG to develop a strategic plan, because every downtown is unique. In one downtown, they might want to talk about how we can have uniform signage. In another one, how can we look at our parking situation? So we are very excited. We liked the competition. It was all Sherry's hard work with getting the application process done, sending it out, getting the all of the requirements from both the chambers and the business improvement districts, along with the municipal governments, so that there is a true partnership. And we are really excited to see what the upcoming strategic plans look like, and then what investments those strategic plans lead to. So it's a great program, and we launched it a couple of months ago, and now we're happy to announce the winners.
Thanks very much, Joan. Before I bring Sherry Asher on to talk a little bit about the program in some greater detail, let me invite County Legislator Erica Pierce to join us on the podium. Erica represents a corner of Westchester County that she's got all the parts of 6 different municipalities, one of which is one of the successful bidders here today. And the money that we set aside for these programs comes with the support of the Board of Legislators. But as Sherry is going to point out, the decisions made about which of these communities successfully competed was not made by those of us in elective office. It was made through a process that separated an independent review. We think that was very important, so that it was the merit-based of the different applications that drove the decisions that were made. And before I have Sherry speak, I also just want to highlight that I'm joined by 3 chief elected officials, each of whom will speak in a few seconds. Ellen Calves, who's the Bedford Town Supervisor, is with us. Gina Picanich, the mayor of the village of Mount Kisco, is with us. And also Vincent Rosillo, who's the mayor of the village of Dobbs Ferry. They have other colleagues of theirs from the local elected positions, and they will introduce them when they come up to speak. But Sherry Rosen Asher, who is our Director of Policy and Programs for Small Businesses and Chambers of Commerce, is going to outline a little bit of the program. Sherry joined the administration at the beginning of the administration. In her own right, she's an elected official. But what's particularly important is that most of the programs that have been developed through her efforts started from base zero. We had no similar type of things that we inherited in the running of county government. Certain things are structured that we pick up on and we may modify it, but this was completely a blank page. And we determined that reaching out to our chambers of commerce, reaching out to our municipalities was an initiative that we could work successfully on. So I credit Sherry for her leadership in that area, and then I invite her to tell us a little bit more about the program.
Thank you. Thank you to the county executive, the deputy county executive, Bridget Gibbons and Joan McDonald, not only for their dedication to small business and the community, but to approaching economic development with vision and compassion. This pilot program will help provide guidance and funding to support the business infrastructure and spark vibrancy in the entire community. The collaboration between the county, the local municipal governments, the local chambers of commerce, and downtown revitalization experts is not only unprecedented in Westchester, it is filled with positive possibilities. The only thing I will say is, while I too enjoy competition and no one wants to play Trivial Pursuit with me, it was, it's always hard when you can only pick certain ones. So I was very happy not to be part of the choosing process. So thank you to the consultants for that. Our consultants, JGSC Group, work to stimulate economic growth, create stronger organizations, and help build vibrant communities, and come to this with decades of practical, hands-on experience. Their work focuses in 3 areas: analysis, strategic planning, and implementation. The founding principal of JGSC Group, Joe Getz, has spent 30 years helping communities large and small develop strategies for revitalization and economic growth. He developed the company's principal product, Community Insights, which is a trademark process that provides an economic analysis and strategic recommendation process for revitalization. Joe has directed market analysis and developed strategic plans for more than 24 redevelopment studies in all 5 boroughs of New York, my hometown of Brooklyn, led targeted retail recruitment programs, and has directed revitalization efforts in over 200 communities across 19 states. So we're so fortunate that the county executive was able to expand this pilot program to the 5 communities of Mount Kisco, Bedford, Port Chester, Dobbs Ferry, and Pelham. And as he said, it is a pilot. We hope it's very successful, and we welcome Joe and his entire team to Westchester.
Thank you. Joe?
Thank you. Thank you. That's very. Thank you for asking me to join you today. And this really is, as the county executive said, this really is unusual. Sherry alluded to the fact that our firm over the last several decades has worked in a number of states and hundreds of cities. And it's sometimes people approach this project as we need to check off the box. Did we do an economic development plan? And that wasn't what anyone wanted to pursue here. The fact that there is an implementation component also differs from many of the plans that unfortunately we did in our early days and other people have done lately, that sit on shelves and collect dust. This is about finding out what everyone wants, and it's about finding out how best to give it to them and make it into a reality. The selection process that was alluded to or mentioned a couple of times is we could have picked probably almost everyone. Of all the communities that submitted application, what we could see, and there was a great deal of thought in preparing the applications. Some people have a different view of how you revitalize a community from what we think works best. And so the three partners in our firm each took all the applications. We went home, we read them, we evaluated them, and then we met as a team and said, I like these towns for these reasons, and came up with a list of communities that we thought have the best chance of success, which is really what this is all about. If we can bring new stores, if we can put more people on the street, if we can reduce the number of vacancies, those are all good steps in economic development. So we're pleased to be a part of it. We think that the applications were well done, and we wish the very best to each of the communities that we're going to work with. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. In our weekly updates that we have generally every Monday at 2 o'clock, we always invite a chief elected official to come and update us on the community. And I always make the point how each community has unique traits that make them very attractive. It's why people live in those communities, work in those communities, shop, visit, and they all have a host of different programs, services that are attractive to people to come, even as a visitor from elsewhere else in the county. The three communities that are represented here today, there's 5 overall that were successful. Portchester and Pella by Gather are not represented here today. But the 3 communities that we are going to highlight do reflect different types of communities. The town of Bedford, from a governmental structure, is a town that is without a village structure within it, but it has 3 very distinct hamlets. The village of Dobbs Ferry is a village within a larger town that has 5 other companion villages within that town. And the consolidated village town of Montkisco is both a village and a town created by state law. This is all on the final exam. I hope you're taking notes. But the bottom line is the governmental structures in each of these 3 communities are different, and the challenges are different, and how each of these elected officials choose to look at those challenges is what makes this an interesting opportunity to see if we can advance in different types of communities the same basic effort to grow and strengthen their downtown business community and thereby the overall community through that. So first I'm going to call upon Ellen Calvis, who is the supervisor of the town of Bedford. Madam Supervisor.
Thank you. Thank you to the county. We are thrilled to enter this partnership with you and very excited. I would like to invite up my colleague Bobby Bitker, who is a council member and actually lives in the hamlet of Bedford Hills, and I'd like her to actually say the words on behalf of our town.
Thank you, Ellen. So first, I want to say thank you to a lot of people because this application did not come together on its own. So first, I want to thank the county, the county executive, and Joan, and Westchester Catalyst, and Sherry for putting this program together and seeing that there really is a need. I also want to thank Supervisor Calvis because having a strong supervisor is really, really important in this process. I wanted to thank our Director of Planning, Jessica Youngblood, who really helped to drive this application, and our town board. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Bedford Hills, which is where we put our focus on this application. We've invested a lot in Bedford Hills already, but like Joan said, I love a good competition myself. And I have to say that getting this was not just a win for us, for the town, this was a win for all the people in Bedford. And I think this is just gonna make such an incredible difference for us. And we were so thrilled because, like Joe said, they saw us as having a great chance of success. And that's really why we're here and why we do what we do. And we really want success for our town and for the people in town. So thank you so much to everybody. Please come to Bedford for what we already have and come to Bedford once this process unfolds and see what we've developed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you to our friends from Bedford. Next up, the village of Mount Kisco, village town of Mount Kisco, is literally right next door to the town of Bedford. And there was a time, once again on the final exam, where the village of Mount Kisco was actually divided between the two towns of Mount Kisco and Newcastle. That was consolidated a number of decades ago. And in it, Mount Kisco represents sort of a regional hub for the northeastern portion of Westchester. And its size and scope, compared to the size and scope of its business community, is much larger than the total residential population of the community. Mayor Gina Piconich is completing her service as mayor at the end of this year. I believe it's 6 years that Gina has served. She comes out of a business background in the community and really has had a finger on the pulse of these issues over the course of her tenure as mayor. So we're very happy to have her come to the microphone next. Gina Piconich.
Thank you. Also with me today is our Deputy Mayor, Lisa Absoon. County Executive, Deputy Executive, to Joan and to Sherry and everyone who was involved in this, we are so excited to be here today. In addition to being a wonderful hometown, as the County Executive shared, Mount Kisco has always been a center for commerce in northern Westchester. We have this unique combination of national brands and small family-owned businesses. And all of them contribute to our local economy and contribute to the vitality of our beautiful and walkable downtown. Overall changes in the retail environment and increasing costs have made it particularly difficult for businesses to continue to thrive. So these challenges impact everyone in our community because a business is not just about making money for themselves, they're also an employer. And again, they contribute to the vitality in our community. So we are really appreciative to being awarded this DIG grant. Having access to the consulting analysis and the expertise and the funding for implementation, this will enable us to focus on further strengthening our already strong local economy and for creating this environment for everyone to thrive. So thank you again to the county for this opportunity, and I want for you all to be rest assured that an investment in Mount Kisco will provide positive results. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Piconich. Next, I'm going to call on Vincent Rosillo, who's the mayor of the village of Dobbs Ferry. I happen to live on the other side of the county, the Long Island Sound shore, and when you go up the Boston Post Road, you'll see a series of small communities that are linked by the Sound and a couple of other structures. Even more cohesive are the Rivertown villages that exist on the western side of the county. All of them, save Sleepy Hollow, are part of the town of Greenburgh. Sleepy Hollow is the northernmost of those Rivertown communities. They're relatively the same size, but each one is very different in their own right. And they share in common a river. They have a link in geography by rail and also by major road systems. But each one has their own personality. Each one's downtown is constructed a little bit differently. If you've been to the western side of the county, Irvington's downtown is a strip that goes from Route 9 down to the river. Dobbs Ferry's downtown is parallel to the structure of the river, and each one has a different personality. Mayor Rosillo and his team in Dobbs Ferry are making the most of their efforts. We're very happy to have them here. We're very happy to hopefully help them incent their efforts with this grant. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Joining me is Trustee Galen. I just, first of all, want to thank the county exec for having the foresight to create this kind of ability for us, for villages and towns throughout the county to partake in such a grant. It's a great opportunity for us and for all of us. And like any executive, we, as the mayor, I have a whole team beside me that really does the heavy lifting on this. So Trustee Galen has some people that we would like to thank on behalf of the village.
I'm Jessica Galen. I'm a trustee in Dobbs. I want to thank the county executive and the entire team here. I just want to highlight the work of the volunteers in Dobbs Ferry who really represent so much of the investment that we've been making in our downtown. And who really helped get our grant application to a place where we're really proud to submit it and just so honored to have be in this incredible group of winners. We have, I want to highlight first of all the downtown committee, without whom the grant application would not have been possible, including volunteers Christy Nell, Avery Little and Emmett McInerney, who supported our village staff, planners, and trustees to assemble such a comprehensive and compelling application. And I also specifically want to mention Trustee Larry Taylor, Village Planner Valerie Monastra, and Treasurer Jeff Chuda for taking the lead on the village side. And I really want to highlight, as has been mentioned, we have a sort of really vibrant River Towns community on the southwestern side of the county. And the River Towns Chamber of Commerce, which is one of the only multi-village chambers in the county, was really essential also in putting together our application and remains a really strong partner for us in this. So thanks again to everyone, and we're really, really thrilled to have this ability to invest more deeply in our downtown.
So again, I just especially want to thank Trustee Galen and the other trustees and, again, the county for all the work and the foresight in doing this. So thank you.
Thank you. Now, I want to mention briefly that the Village of Pelham and the Village of Portchester were also successful recipients of these grants. Village of Pelham and the Village of Portchester both are Sound Shore communities. Village of Pelham is nestled around three cities, very more urban environment that surrounds them, the city of Mount Vernon, the city of New Rochelle, and the Bronx and the city of New York. But it still has a small town appeal and feel, and when you're on Fifth Avenue, Wolf's Lane in the Village of Pelham and into the neighboring Village of Pelham Manor, you do get the same kind of hometown feel that you get whether you're on Main Street in Dobbs Ferry, Main Street in Mount Kisco, or Mosier or Lexington Avenue, or in any of the three hamlets of Bedford Village. Mayor Chance Mullen sends his best regards and a very dynamic Pelham Chamber of Commerce. In Portchester, we have the largest of the villages in Westchester County, well over 30,000 people. By all rights, it could be incorporated as a city in terms of its urban nature. Portchester also has the unique reality that it is a majority community within the Hispanic demographic. So it has an interesting opportunity within the Hispanic economic development areas of that ownership on Main Street and on Westchester Avenue to be able to move dramatically forward. So both of those communities, complemented with the three that are here today, give us a very good case where we can be helpful and hopefully test out in a positive light. And for those communities that competed but were not awarded grants this year, stay tuned, because the hope is that in this year's budget, and we'll rely on some good fortune that we have the resources available to do this, we would intend to expand the program to include other communities, and we'll go through that process in a second. I'd like to call on the Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins. He is a critical part of every decision that we make here, and have him share a few thoughts. Ken?
Well, thanks, George. Certainly, all of us love a good competition, but the reality is that a lot of people don't give it enough time to think through all of the challenges in county government, and specifically in this county government, the County Executive George Latimer making sure to have a team of business professionals that are around them, because a lot of folks look around and they look at the county executive, look at myself, they look at Joan McDonald and see the governmental side, the public service side, and forget that most of us had full careers in the business community that were extremely successful. And that helps out when you have programs like this. And when you combine that with the program that started from zero, right? And County Executive pointed that out from the very beginning with Shari Rose and Asha. There was no Chamber of Commerce program. There was no business improvement development community. The County Executive personally going as the mountain, bringing the mountain to the community. Muhammad not going to the mountain, Muhammad going to the mountain, right? So going to every one of the 45 municipalities in Westchester County to make sure that that sibling relationship, to understand it was brother and sister, not big brother and little sister, or little brother, big sister, whatever way you want to put it, that the combination that Westchester County was going to be in partnership with the municipalities. And we see it in so many different opportunities, whether it's on the business and economic development side, or whether it's on our social services and the things that we provide in county government that people don't like to take a look at every day. That relationship is really important, and these kind of examples, these kind of pilot programs continue to show what happens when governments work together. And that leadership, because of the leadership of County Executive Latimer and all of our partners that is standing up here today, having the level of respect they can, these programs are going to be successful. And again, we're looking forward to more pilots and some more competition as things move forward. Thanks a lot, George.
Thank you, Ken Jenkins. So our announcement today is that the county government has set aside grants of $250,000 each for 5 different communities in Westchester County to help them through the professional services that Joe Getz and the GGSC group will provide to help us plan and implement programs in these 5 downtowns to improve them, and by doing so, perhaps attract additional investment, both private sector investment and government public works, things that will help create some additional energy and drive in downtowns that already show some of that potential and can grow to a greater level. And we're very appreciative of the hard work of these communities in bidding for the grants, and now we do the work stage of this, in which we try to see exactly what can happen. And we hope you'll make it a point of visiting these communities, to go to downtown Dobbs Ferry, to Mount Kisco, and Bedford, and Pelham, and Portchester, so that you can see certain things that are happening in the energy and the drive and all of these things. Let me close up by making a very general comment. We've read a lot in the last 6 months about issues that have affected us that have nothing to do with economic development. Housing compact from the state of New York, the movement of asylum seekers into suburban settings outside of New York City. We've had questions about environmental commitment and environmental improvement in certain areas. And in these and many other areas, I'm very proud of the fact that we've tried in Westchester County to be a leader in these things without trumpeting ourselves as leaders, by doing those things within a county government that are innovative, that are pushing the barrier forward. And we hope, although we learn from our successes and we learn from our failures, and that by pushing these barriers forward, we'll be able to help incent something better, something down the line that makes some sense. When I was a young boy, I remember hearing the great speech by President Kennedy when he was at the Berlin Wall, and he was talking about, the wall had just gone up, and he was talking about if you wanted to see what was happening in the world in that day between communism and freedom, come to Berlin. That was the speech that ended with Ich bin ein Berliner. And if you want to see what innovation looks like, I want you to come to this county, Westchester County. I want you to come and see the way we handle environmental issues, such as electrifying our bus fleet or dealing with our food scraps. If you want to see what housing looks like, look at the efforts being made for housing in Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow, and in Portchester and in New Rochelle and Yonkers and White Plains. If you want to see how we move forward in areas of important public works improvements, come and see the kinds of things that have been happening, because this is not just a suburb. This is an area that prioritizes how government can work alongside business, work alongside not-for-profit organizations, work alongside religious institutions, and then advance the interests of each individual community, and by doing so, advancing the interest of the greater whole. We are 1 million people in Westchester County, and that 1 million people include many people who are successful in every form of endeavor. And they expect to see from their government the same level of ability and creativity that they themselves show in their professional career. A program like this makes that commitment in these 5 communities and hopefully in the county as a whole. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Thank you for watching. Come visit Dobbs Ferry. Come visit Pelham, Portchester, Bedford, Mount Kisco. You'll like what you see. Have a good day.